the cost of materials is high. So sometimes I do look at it that if you are even producing your feed locally, does it really worth it? Because by the time you phantom into your cost of machineries and your cost of production to the branded feed, you will look at the gap, that the gap in there is just a minute gap. You just look at, does it really worth it for you to produce locally? Yeah. But if you want to produce locally, there's a way out. If you want to produce locally and gain profit locally and make sure that you reduce your cost of production, you will need an expert. There's a secret involved. So an expert will guide you through this, because there are a lot of alternatives that you can use in doing this so that you can stand to gain that much profit we need in fish farming. So let me be going further. Most of the fish problem we are having is that generally fish, as we know, fish is one of the most healthiest feed we can ever think of. Yeah, because one is highly rich in lot of nutritional, is highly rich in vitamin, lot of vitamins, is highly rich in omega-3 to give you a perfect skin. For our elders out there, fish is very, very good for you to take. If you don't want to take the fresh fish, you can conveniently take the smoked one. They can use it to cook any kind of varieties of soup, which I understand will do well for you, will make your skin grow well, will give you a lot of vitamin, will give you a lot of nutrient that we need to grow and to do better, to get shining and to look younger. Yeah, so I recommend this for my elders out there, the old age out there, our mommies, our daddies, to make sure that they get a fish farm. Somebody like me, I smoke most of my fishes and I send it to my mom at home, so in order to look fresher, so that by the time I'm with my mommy, I will know that she's my fish is doing well on her. So despite that, we have lot of things that fish do for us, and I will be talking about the challenges now. The challenges we have generally presently now is what we call the feed. The feed is at the increased level. The cost of the feed is high. The cost of feed has increased to a level that, in short, to gain profit on fish farming at present will be very, very difficult. So how do we make profit? How do we curb these challenges is what we'll be talking about. We have the challenges from the feed, not even the feed producers. The feed producers are having these challenges too as well, because one, where they are getting their grains from. Presently, the government is looking nonchalantly to crop farmers, to agriculture presently. So getting the crops, getting the grains, because of most of these herdsmen that are affecting farmers all around, they can't crop what we call the major part of it, the soya, the GNC and stuff. So it's been very, very difficult. So I do understand that most of these ingredient is even being imported into the country. You can see how this is done. So most of this, especially soya, is being exported to the country. The high rate of material will be. So the cost of materials is high. So sometimes I do look at it that if you are even producing your feed locally, does it really worth it? Because by the time you phantom into your cost of machineries and your cost of production to the branded feed, you will look at the gap, that the gap in there is just a minute gap. You just look at, does it really worth it for you to produce locally? Yeah. But if you want to produce locally, there's a way out. If you want to produce locally and gain profit locally and make sure that you reduce your cost of production, you will need an expert. There's a secret involved. So an expert will guide you through this, because there are a lot of alternatives that you can use in doing this so that you can stand to gain that much profit we need in fish farming. So this topic may not end. We may have it in part 1, part 2, but if it goes longer, we have it in part 3. But I think part 1, part 2 will be okay, not to be much bored. So we have series of alternative feed. I told you the major problem we are having now is feed and our cost of sales, because once your feed is high, producing your feed is high, and your cost of sales is not increasing, this will not be balanced. That means your input to the business is more than your output, and if your input to the business is more than your output, it tells you are making loss, total loss on the business. So how do we do this? We have a lot of alternative materials that we can use to sustain through this. We have from the fish waste, the fish waste, the alternate materials, the alternative source we have for the fish waste are what we call the tadpoles. We have the water frogs, we had the fish ruminants, we have the fish intestine, all this and so forth. We have for the animals too as well. The animals are the animal waste. We have what we call the decaying and fermentation and fermentation of the animals, which produces maggot. So we have what we call the pellet feed. The pellet feed too can be alternate. You can alternate your grains with what we call the plants. A lot of plants are available out there for you to do well. Some of the plants are what we call the duckweed. We have what we call the azolla. We have what we call the water lily. We have what we call the water hyacinth seed. All these plants are there for you, naturally there for you, and they are free of charge, that you can conveniently alternate and mix with your feed and drop the cost of your production. So you need an expert to take you through this, as I said earlier. So we have gone to the animal part of it, we have gone to the plant part of it, but let us look at the mongers. That means the market women that are buying our feed. They are the ones dictating for the farmers, and that is where farmers are having problems. And we all know that we are raising livestock, and they are eating and they are feeding on a daily basis. If your fishes is feeding on a daily basis, maybe you are feeding them with one bag in a day, and you are buying the bag for 20,000 naira, and you cannot feed for a week. Maybe the market woman comes to you and price you in a ridiculous way. They know you cannot feed them for a week because your catch at hand. And if you don't feed your fishes as required, if you don't feed them well, if you are short feeding them, they will be reducing the weight. As we all know that we are selling weight. So it is highly important for farmers to know what we call your feeding frequency, your feeding efficiency, and the FCR of your fish. If you really can alternate between those slogans, you will get the perfect result in order to curtail and in order to make that much needed profit we need this time around. There are a lot of farms that are making profit. A lot of farms out there are making profit, but if you are not making profit, this video is for you. And if you think you have other farmers that are not really still making that profit, make sure that you share this video to them and let them listen and look and watch at it very well. So I told you about your field alternation, which you can use to curtail this. And another thing, I will beg the government and I will beg all farmers to be united, to stand as one, to be formed as an association, so that we can break this problem of price sustainability. We need to sustain price at present. Let me give you an instance. There are some farmers out there, I'm telling to you from experience, if they are selling their fishes for 1,000 naira, they will still make profit. Because they have already alternate lot of secrets. And some people out there, if they are selling for 1,500 naira, they will still never make profit. So make sure that you join the cliques and the leaks of those people that really understand what you are doing, so that you can make profit in every area you are into. So there are a lot of secrets in fish farming, in growing fish. We have our book that we tagged The Secret of a Successful Catfish Business, and we have the one that we call the feeding chart. We have the one for the melange too as well that we tagged How to Grow Catfish Melange. Getting these books will highly help you a lot in order to form a table for your feeding frequency and to form how to calculate your feeding chart. All this will automatically help you. Make sure that as you are watching and you need more information, make sure that you get this book and you read to your understanding. Yeah, it is very, very important you read to your understanding, because if you don't read to understanding, you will not understand most of these things. So challenges on fish farming, those come from you breaking challenges from fish farming. You comes from you knowing about the secret and the alternation of your feed and tapping into value chains of fish farming. There are a lot of value chains of fish farming. We have the smoking business, we have the smoke pellet, the beef pelleting, we have the egg extracting, we have the oil extraction, we have leasing out materials. Somebody like me, I have what we call the mud pumps, and I lease it out on a daily basis to farmers around me. We collect 2,000 to 20,000 naira per day from them, and if you have 10 of it and you are collecting 33,000 naira, that gives you 30,000 naira per day. So I'm just giving you this as an expo. So there are a lot of areas that you can use to sustain and manage your farm. If you have all those things, if you tap into most of this value chain, automatically you can use what you are gaining from those value chain on your daily basis and put it up in order to feed your fishes, so that your fishes will do well. So I'm using this as an opportunity to encourage those people that are not feeding their fishes well to do so. Make sure that you feed your fishes well, so that this can give you a perfect result. So I'll be pausing this video for now, and maybe next week I'll be giving you more elaboration on this topic, because the topic is so wide and I don't want this video to be bored. So as you are watching now, make sure that you subscribe to this my YouTube channel. Make sure that you follow us on all our social media handles. We are on Facebook, we are on Instagram, we are on TikTok, we are on LinkedIn, we are on Twitter, we have our blog, and we are our site. So make sure that you subscribe and you follow us on all our social media handle. Once again, my name is Teleben Odutola Isa Abiodun, your anchor on this great channel. Thank you, and God bless you all.